Good morning. 7th of December, 5:45 in the morning. Let's just have a look at the FTSE charts. So yesterday, the Dow had a fairly decent retrace, and the FTSE followed it to a point. So what happened? We had potentially a 15-minute bear channel creation. I actually played on the live call, played this short out of the 15-minute resistance. Obviously none of this would have printed, and this cross here showed that the 15-minute was resistance, and indeed it held, but only looked down as far as support, and has subsequently come all the way back into 15-minute now being support. 200 still flat on the 15 minutes. Price needed to hold and to start to create a bear channel that would look like this bull channel, but the other way around. Now essentially with MAs, you need support from the time frames above or below for price action continuation, for momentum continuation. So essentially what's happened is the 4-hour channel is still well and truly still intact. I thought price might push for the 470. Yeah, 50 MA blue. Sorry, 200 MA blue, 50 MA black. Split them if there's a decent gap, which there clearly is, with the 100. So a support marker was 470 for me, but it never got there, and we'll look why. All that's happened is price looked into the 4-hour channel, rejected it fairly quickly, and the candle closes have closed above the 4-hour support line, which means that is still well and truly still intact as a bull channel. Now a quick tip, what you need, as I just said, is the support of the time frames above or below, depending on what direction you're going, what you want price to do, or how you're reading the price action. And essentially channels need to be created on the lower frames as resistance to push price into deeper support. Conversely, price needs to have support of bull channel creations to push into resistance. But at the moment, I know most people are looking for reversals, looking for price to look deeper into support. And the reason why it didn't, in my opinion, is because we still haven't created resistance in the form of the 1-hour chart. Okay, so this has still remained as a bull channel for over a month. So for the 4-hour, if you remember what you have to remember, let's show you. So the 4-hour chart support really needs for that to be looked at deeper. For any kind of more meaningful retrace, we really do need the support of the 1-hour chart. It needs the help of the 1-hour chart rolling over, creating a bear channel so that price can put in lower lows, higher lows with rejections, yeah, off of a newly formed 1-hour resistance channel to then make that kind of shape. Yeah, so price can oscillate, putting in lower lows, putting in lower highs off of a newly formed bear channel on the 1-hour. Okay, so that hasn't happened. So let's look at what or where price could go. So if we go to the 4-hour chart, let's just take the MAs off for a moment. Right, if we just put, so if we ignore the wick, and look at this as the touch, the first touch here, okay, let's make that our trend line, all right? So if we make that our trend line from this low, from the candle body to the first touch, okay, you've wicked through here, but you've had some real reliable tests of that trend line, okay. So just as a potential tool, as another means just to try and work out what price might do, and then take one from this high to this touch here. Okay, that's worth keeping on your charts. Price consolidates, or indeed pushes above and breaks through the wedge. If you get a retest of the line, it could look for support on the line and look for a retest double top 4 hour or a higher high. Look at momentum. I'll be interested if that happens, okay, because we've still got divergent zones that would print if indeed we did have a double top or a high high. Conversely, if it breaks this trend line, you could look at how price momentum moves the price action through the trend line, and again look for a retest, right, as resistance, as a break for the downside. Okay, so there's one little tool, as well as the MAs. And then lastly, let's just look at the daily chart. You can tell it's 6:45 in the morning because I'm not in a rush. Let's put in a fib, just a daily fib from yesterday. Okay, so this is a daily fib pull from yesterday's high. Let's make sure it's right. Yesterday's high and low. And then what we can do is just put an extension into okay, so there's your extension. Right, so if we just look at this for a moment, if we look at this for a moment, the fibs could just give us some idea of where price may look. Okay, so we've got yesterday's high, 78, call it 80, give or take a pip. The 38, 50 and 61 are the most reliable. So these areas here are targets. You've got 606, 615, 624 as potential resistance. Okay, so if price does break into the extension zone, have a look again at the oscillators. If you're creating divergence into these resistance areas, then they could be very, very valid short targets if indeed price goes there. You know, we're pre-bell, so it might not. But again, conversely, if price wants to, again on the lower frames now, let's have a look at them. That might not have shown up on that. Yes, it has. Let's go to the 1 hour. See, if we take the MAs off, keep it cleaner. So we're moving into this wedge, all right? And if you keep the fibs on, you've got your extensions. If you look, these three fibs, the 38, 50 and 61, could remain as support coming off of that 4 hour trend line we have, you see. Again, I would use price momentum to consider whether I long essentially the 4-hour bull channel, looking for the highs. Yeah, and obviously once the session opens at 8 o'clock, we'll have a better idea. But it's good to have these levels in mind now, so that maybe you're ready to take trades. Okay, so we've got a squeeze potentially on a 4-hour wedge with levels at 49, 40, 31 as potential support, if indeed the trend wants to hold, and look for retests of the high into resistance. All right, so look, let's not get bogged down too much with the fibs and how to trade them. It was more to put it on this morning as a means to look at the potential levels that could be of interest, how price is behaving within the levels, to allow you to make considerations as to how to trade it. Yeah, so that's the potential levels. Let's just very quickly look down the frames. Right, so for intraday stuff, we've still got 5-minute support here, but it's very flat and it's only 6 in the morning. So again, look at what happens on the bell. So for trading intraday, this 15-minute chart is going to be key. Keep an eye on channel creations off of this flat 15-min setup. Okay, because if price can hold, obviously, I know I'm repeating myself, at 6 in the morning, so we'll have to see what happens later, just giving different alternatives. But if price can hold on the bell, 15-minute chart flicks over to support, you might see, yeah, some holds of 15-minute support, looking for those highs that we just looked at on the higher frames. Again, conversely, because it's flat, price might come back through the 15-minute chart. The 50 MA could whipsaw, and indeed it may become resistance again. So for trading today, for me, I'll be trying to keep it again as I normally do, nice and tight, trading off of the newly formed setups that will happen within the next couple of hours. Okay, price breaks through the 15-minute, use it as resistance. Price holds 15 minutes and creates a bull channel, yeah, even if it's a relatively small one, you can still trust it as support. Dialing down, yeah, using the 5-minute for entry, if indeed you want to. Imagine if the 15-minute confirms a support, yeah, then indeed the 5-minute would indeed remain a bull channel, giving you entries off of support. Again, conversely, if price wanted to roll the 5s over, it would mean in turn the 15 minutes would no doubt also become resistance, so you can take trades off of a bear channel that would look similar to this, keeping your trades structured, short in the marks, stop loss above the structure. Okay, so that's slightly longer this morning because I've got more time. Obviously that's 6 AM. We'll have a look at it again after the bell, because the whole setup could look slightly different. But worth keeping in mind, this is what I do every morning, what shapes, patterns, channels, trend lines, and indeed fib markers are all out there for you to be aware of as key areas, so you're prepared for you're prepared for where price could go, and then what you may do around those areas. So we'll look at it again later.